I don't know if a lot of people know, but the nickname for Washington, D.C. was once Chocolate City because of the large amount of black residents that were there. And the vice president made the point, why do you have these white liberals out there condemning this when the black residents are praising this because they want to feel...
Yeah, black people love being under military occupation, famously. Dude, everyone's a liberal at the end of the day. Remember, look at this. How is this any different than Joe Biden being like, well, black people don't want me to drop out, so you're racist if you want me to drop out? Just make some shit up. Black people actually like this decision. And it's white liberals who don't like this decision. Actually, black people that love this decision of a permanent military occupation on their streets. Meanwhile, the admin is literally posting photos of people that they're just like grabbing from the street and arresting without any conviction whatsoever, by the way, just simply on charges. And they're just posterizing them. Incredible stuff, man. Most of the people that they're posting are black, by the way.
Live safely in their community. So you have the president going after the drugs, going after the theft, going after the murderers in their community. So kids and...
It's just crazy because they haven't done that at all. It's weird because they keep posting anytime they arrest someone. And it's always like possession of a weapon or just like a marginal amount of marijuana or some shit. So I don't know what the these guys are talking about.
This is the guy who thinks people don't deserve law and order in their own community.
Mr. Vice President, how did it go?
Guys, thank you.
Look at them, like maniacs.
They're maniacs. No, they actually love him, dude. They love him. They're saying, boo, show us your face more, actually.
Are you looking at the crime stats there? And that's with the fudge numbers. So
yeah,
does that seem like a freezing? Look at this,
This guy, that guy's screaming.
Right, and they're getting rid of the homeless encampments. They're putting them into facilities. They're cleaning up the...
Yeah, Fox is not showing the crowd calling J.D. Vance a couch f***er, it seems.
Oh, look. It's couch f***er. You gonna fuck a couch, buddy?
Right here. Do not go past this.
Couch pussy boy.
Go the couch, JD Vance. Go couch.
God damn.
If you just take control of these cities, you can make them safe places to live in.
So your pal Gavin Newsome calls this an abuse of power, that this is just a power grab, and this is all stunt for show, and that you all are going to roll through other cities. You've heard things about, it's martial law is going to be declared.
Yep.
And to that you say?
Well, first of all, how is it a power grab or how is it a stunt when we've already declined murders by 35% in 9 days? How many people are living and breathing today because Donald Trump had the willpower to say, you know what, we're sick of D.C. being a home to lawlessness. We're going to bring some public order back to the nation's capital. So
what do I say? What do I say to this? Every part of this is just up and down, is all lies, man. Like, D.C. is not one of the least safe places in America. That's bullshit. Its actual rate of violent crime has gone down, lowest in 30 years, and it's slated to even go down more. Their spin on it is so idiotic. Even the fact that they're saying like people are terrified to go out and have dinner in DC restaurants is, again, bullshit. It's like when chatters would come to me living in West Hollywood and act as though it was bedlam in my backyard. Or like when chatters would come in here from all around the country and go, dude, LA is on fire. It's like, bro, I'm in the middle of it. What are you talking about? You're over here telling me what I am experiencing in real life is actually fake, and you know better from Idaho because you saw a fucking clip. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. We are at the mercy of psychos who are just hallucinating an alternative reality. And there's no interest, no investment whatsoever from any media outlet to be like, this is just not true. They live in DC. Half of these people live in DC. They know it's not true. Donald Trump straight up tells them to their face in the DC press pool when they're at the White House, all of you are so scared of going out to dinner because there's people around, dangerous criminals around. Not a single person goes, what the f are you talking about? It's not true. And not only is it not true, but also the increased police and military presence has actually caused a dip in people going out to dinner because people seemingly don't want to go out when there's military occupation taking place. Yeah, Sean Hannity be though. We know that. He leaked that shit. Sean Hannity, you can hard now, especially when there's no one else at the restaurant. It'll just be you and your Fox News girlfriend. Pipe away, Sean. I did this for you, Sean. Whip your dick out in the middle of the restaurant, leaking his side piece. Before you guys say, it's because Donald Trump called into the Fox and Friends or the morning show and was like, Sean Hannity and the beautiful one sitting in the middle over there can now go and have a dinner in peace without being harassed by criminals.
There's a guy named Sean Hannity. He might take a very lovely young lady that he knows very, very well to dinner in Washington, and they don't have to. And she's sitting right next to you, by the way.
That's right.
But
Mr. President,
I don't want to get him in trouble, so I better explain exactly. We don't want any secrets here. But
That's exactly right.
that's the greatest relationship. I hope I'm not breaking any news. This could be the biggest. Hey, this could be the most important thing I said. But let me tell you, those are two great, Ainsley and Sean, great people. And when they go out to dinner, I don't want to see them get mugged. Now they can go out. They can hold hands. They can walk down the street. They're both superstars. I want to know who makes more money, because she's got to be making a lot.
That's what he said. He just like leaked it. And then he was like, I hope I'm not breaking news here. People know this, right? People know it. You guys have been dating. You're so beautiful, a beautiful couple.
DC safe again, and that's what we're demonstrating. And I hope that the American people take an important lesson from this, because obviously DC is a federal city, New York, LA, these places are not. I hope the American people just recognize that you don't have to live with lawlessness. You don't have to live with third world murder rates. If you just take control of these cities, you can make them safe places to live in.
So your pal Gavin Newsome calls this an abuse of power, that this is just a power grab, and this is all stunt for show, and that you all are going to roll through other cities. You've heard things about, it's martial law is going to be declared.
Yep.
And to that you say?
Well, first of all, how is it a power grab, or how is it a stunt when we've already declined murders by 35% in 9 days? How many people are living and breathing today? Because
what kind of statistical analysis is being conducted here where murders went down by 35% in 9 days? What are you saying? In the last 10-day cycle, there were 10 murders and now 7.5 murders? Like, do you understand what the problem is here? First of all, a 9-day period is not enough to... 6.5 murders. No murders in the last 3 seconds. Murder defeated. Yeah. Even in the conversation that's taking place right now, there have been 0 murders, which means we 100% reduced murders in the last hour.
A couple of years ago, the last time I was in Union Station, I took my little kids there to get lunch, and they were being screamed at by homeless people, not compassionate to the homeless people to let them just fester when they clearly have mental health problems, not compassionate to young families to not be able to go into one of America's great public spaces without being screamed at by a person clearly suffering
Why are
from a
Democrats
mental
doing
illness.
this?
I don't know.
Why is this a political
strategy?
strategy?
Laura, I have thought about this so often and so many times. I don't know why Democrats seem to love public disorder and chaos almost as a political ideology. And I think that part of what's going on is Democrats have gotten so divorced from the communities that they allegedly serve that they don't realize the gross majority of residents in D.C., they want to walk through Union Station and just have a bite to eat or enjoy the space with their families. They don't realize that so many people...
Why is that in American politics? You only have 2 options. Either you just kill the homeless with the military, you kill them dead, or you have to act like they're not there. Why no third option? Why is this the only 2 available options at our disposal in American politics? You just either have to behave like a deputized social worker on the spot, or avoid the person having a mental health episode in front of you. Just act like he's not there. Or you just have to kill them. You have to kill them with the military immediately. Like, even in that situation, obviously one is better than the other. And no, I don't mean the Republican side. There is an alternative out there. It's not like this is an issue that persists everywhere. Why can't we just put them in housing, man?
People have been absolutely terrorized by Democrat crime policies. And so maybe they just don't make the connection between what Gavin Newsome says and the fact that places like D.C. or Los Angeles have some of the highest murder rates in the world.
And the D.C. police are being investigated for potentially manipulating their crime data. I've heard this from other police forces across the country. Great cops, beat cops in places like Chicago have said, some of the crimes are reclassified to make a burglary something that's more of a disturbance, and that kind of stuff happens. But is this a federal issue at this point, if this is a manipulation of data and if it's widespread?
Well, it's certainly something that's being investigated, and I hope that we'll uncover what's going on. But even aside from any manipulation of data, when you have 911 wait times that are so long, a lot of crime doesn't even get reported. And we heard this all the time. People would say, well, my home's being robbed. I'm not even going to call the police because it's going to be 45 minutes before they show up. And that's not an indictment of the beat cop, by the way. They're so overwhelmed by how...
Yeah, maybe because they're dog shit, dude. They suck at their jobs. Bro, I swear to God, there's no other job on the planet other than like maybe a CEO that gets this kind of treatment for being at their jobs. It's so strange. I'm an advocate for making cops do their job instead of roaming the streets, terrorizing like black people and like actually solve crime, actually stop crime. This pisses me off so much.
Well, I think when President Zelensky walked into the Oval Office, I was chatting with him, with the president, with some of the senior Ukrainian delegation. I said, Mr. President, so long as you behave, I won't say anything. And he just chuckled a little bit. It was a good little icebreaker. I mean, what the president's trying to do, meaning our president is trying to do, is bring a 3.5-year, very brutal conflict to a stop. It's killed way too many Ukrainians, way too many Russians. It's completely transformed the economy of Europe and of big parts of Asia. We just got to get back to peace. And I really do think you heard Vladimir Putin say this, that if Donald Trump had been president in 2022, this war would have never started. And now the president is really spending a lot of time, a lot of effort to stop Joe Biden's war, because I think it is Joe Biden's war. Without him being weak and provocative, I don't think that Russia would have invaded Ukraine.
Bro, that is so dumb. That statement is so dumb. Because Trump is president now. Why are Republicans so stupid? Yes, Vladimir Putin did say that. But the point is, Republicans are so dumb that they just look at that statement and don't make any inferences past the point of Vladimir Putin saying, oh, I would have never invaded if you kept being president. Okay, let's say that's true. Why is nobody asking, but Trump is president now? Why are you still continuing to pummel Ukraine? Like, if that's the case, if you have so much respect for Donald Trump, then why don't you stop invading Ukraine? Oh, I just realized Vladimir Putin is a mamala truther. That's why. He believes that the election was stolen from Kamala Harris. He also believes that the votes were never properly counted. That's why. He just doesn't know that Donald Trump is president right now. Because if he thought Donald Trump was president, he'd stop, right?
I'm going to get things done. If I want to talk to somebody, I'm going to talk to somebody. You had a lot of the Europeans who were saying, no, there needs to be proper, vetting, and the teams have to prepare the phone call and blah, 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 blah. And the president was like, no. I want to talk to the guy. I'm going to talk to the guy. And I think that kind of no holds barred, no BS diplomacy is part of the reason why we've made the progress we have. And we've made a lot of progress, Laura. Look, who knows what's going to happen? The president tells me this all the time. You can never say with certainty what the outcome in this situation is going to be. But we now have the Russians talking to the Ukrainians. They're talking details about what would be necessary on each side to stop the fighting and stop the killing. We've made more progress in 3 months than the country had made in 3 years in stopping this conflict. And I think it's because sometimes you just need a president who will pick up the phone and call somebody.
I just don't get it because, it seems like both sides are just lying to each other and one another in their own bases. I don't know if Putin has backed away from his maximalist position of leaving Ukraine defenseless or even demanding more territory than it has conquered militarily. But also outside of that, Ukraine, on the other hand, is getting $100 billion of weapons from America that Europe is paying for, I guess. I don't know why that would be, or some semblance of security assurances would be something that Putin is on board with when he's communicated that he does not want that at all. Having said that, however, if Trump was able to crack this after getting cracked by Putin, I'd give him his flowers. I just doubt that it will happen. I think the likelihood is very, very low, judging by what they've said so far, but it would objectively be a good thing. I just don't know how it's going to work out.
Have been discussed and generally agreed upon, namely the security agreement and land swap?
It's a good question. I think that if you go through the bureaucratic process, then the answer is yes. But I think the president's preference and my preference would be, let's have them meet regardless. You don't have to figure out every issue. And sometimes leaders sitting down face to face can break the logjam that their teams don't necessarily have the ability to do. There really are two big questions lingering out there. And in some ways it's very simple, but in some ways it's very complicated. Number one is Ukraine wants to know that it's not going to get invaded again by Russia. It wants to know that it's got territorial integrity long into the future. The Russians want certain pieces of territory, most of which they've occupied, but some of which they haven't. So that is really where the meat of the negotiation is. The Ukrainians want security guarantees. The Russians want a certain amount of territory. Again, we finally got the details. We're working on them, but we haven't figured everything out. And I don't think that we should force, we shouldn't say that they can't sit down until you figured out every little detail. Sometimes them sitting down is what facilitates figuring out those details.
Massive L for America, by the way. This is why I said he's a ginormous L. They just lost. They thought that they could continue the back and forth while taking out large swaths of the Russian military and crippling the Russian economy, have Russia come back to the negotiating table begging for sanctions relief without losing any significant Ukrainian territory. And America lost. Isn't it L for Biden since it happened under his watch? There is no Biden versus Trump, man. What are you talking about? There's America. This is such a funny attitude that people have towards American politics, especially as it pertains to foreign policy. Biden is dead. He's gone. Rest in peace, Biden. Okay? Not literally yet, but what the do you mean? Isn't this Biden's war? No, I'm talking about something far more consequential than Biden or Trump. I'm talking about America with all of its endless might. America realized that it can't continue this in the ways that they are. There's simply not enough manpower to hold the weapons and not enough enthusiasm to keep the defense going.
Let's move to the economy because that is still the number one issue in the United States for most voters.
Sure.
The Democrats seem to be banking on an economic downturn, just like they seem to be banking on chaos in the streets against the National Guard.
Sure.
How do you see the economy in the next 6 months? As we're seeing some continuing uncertainty regarding interest rates and Jerome Powell.
Well, unfortunately, you have the Democrats. I think they really are betting against the United States. We're betting on the United States and the American people. There are a lot of good things happening in the economy. You have a lot of new investment coming in part because of the tariffs. People are trying to avoid
When Republicans are actively trying to destroy the country, when Democrats are in charge, they're never betting against the United States. You only hear this rhetoric when Republicans are in charge where they're like, oh, you hate the president? You must hate America. Oh, you hate the president? You want him to do bad, huh? You want Americans to suffer. It's no, dude, you're making Americans suffer. You're making Americans suffer. It's such funny cope for them to be yeah, it's the Democrat Jerome Powell's doing. That's the reason why the economy is not picking up steam. Stock market's fine. Stock market notwithstanding, obviously not exactly a great measure of the overall economy, overall health of the American population. Always and forever, bro. It's dumbasses being oh, Hasan, you hate America. Why? Because you're criticizing things that America's doing and demanding that it do better by its own citizens and everyone living on U.S. soil. So you hate America. No, man, I think the Republicans hate America. I think any politician that, for example, actively demands more funds be transferred to Israel, more funds be transferred to the American military, to send more American men and women overseas to go die so that American corporations could turn profit year over year, hate America and Americans a lot more than me, motherfucker. I don't want that to happen. Yeah, I hate America so much. I want everyone to have socialized medicine. It really, truly blows my mind, dude, that dudes like myself and people like yourselves that say stuff hey, why don't we just spend some money on ourselves? There's clearly a lot of it going around. It's just staying in the hands of super wealthy people. Maybe we should spread it around a little bit. Maybe we should fund some social programs a little bit. And they're oh, you're a terrorist. You're a socialist terrorist. You don't want to keep funding Israel's genocide? Wow, you're anti-Semitic terrorists, you piece of shit. Great, man. Thank you. That's right. I'm the one who hates America and Americans. Yeah, you got it. Because I said there's better use of all of the wealth that we are generating than to dump it directly back into endless military conquest.